So, I was bored a little while ago and had debilitating Pokemon brain rot, so I decided to design my own Fakemon. Don't tell anybody, but I was supposed to do this video like a year ago, but I didn't get around to it. But better late than never, right? Right? So today, I'm just gonna share with you this one 3-stage evolutionary line that I came up with. When deciding what type of Pokemon I wanted to make and design, I wanted to go with a grass type this time around just because there was a lot of different plants with shapes and properties that I thought I could do something interesting with, especially with the type combination. So while I was looking across the internet for some inspiration, I came across a plant known as the Devil's Hand Tree. It's a species of plant that's native to Guatemala and southern Mexico, and it just has this really striking red, spiky, fingered hand look to it that I thought I could really do something cool with. So I knew I wanted to do a grass type, and now I had this sort of hand plant motif, so my brain just had like a Jimmy Neutron brain blast. I decided that a cool type to pair with my new Fakemon would be Psychic. I thought I could really lean into the hand motif if I used the Psychic typing in this design, and you'll see why real quick. So without further ado, here is my first design for the basic stage of this Pokemon. It is Fourseed, the Grass and Psychic type Pokemon. Fourseed is known as the Premonition Pokemon, and Fourseed have the power to see into the future. They use this power to determine optimal sun and rainfall patterns in order to grow at maximum efficiency. They were once used to help predict the weather, but a man-made Pokemon called Castform has taken its place. Its psychic powers are still weak, so if an opponent manages to get close to Fourseed, it may resort to retaliating with frantic slaps from its budding flowers. So yeah, if you haven't picked up on it already, I used the grass and psychic typing to create something I feel is personally really unique here. Using the psychic typing and the Devil's Hand Tree motif, I was able to create a fortune teller's ball design that I think is really unique. It has 2 hand-shaped budding flowers on top that are supposed to be reminiscent of a fortune teller's hands hovering over the crystal ball. And obviously the main body is supposed to be reminiscent of a crystal ball, except it's a seed. I thought having a seed visually representing a crystal ball with floating hands was a really clever way to just work in the psychic typing into this design. A lot of crystal balls also have those drapes on the bottom of them that act as like a stand for the crystal ball, and I tried to replicate that with the bottom of the Pokemon. Its feet would be like underneath that like curtain it has on the bottom there. I also thought the grass psychic typing could use a little more clever representation. Of the grass psychic types we already have in Pokemon, I feel like none of them very visually represent the actual psychic typing very well. So that's why I decided to go with the grass psychic typing for this evolutionary line, and I'm really impressed of how well this design has held up considering I made it about 10 months ago. I'm still very proud of this and the other designs you're going to see in this video. When it comes to designing Fourseed's evolution, I put a lot of thought into it. I thought I struck gold with the Devil's Hand Tree and Fortune Teller theming of the Pokemon, so I decided to just really lean into it and keep it through all the way to the end of the evolutionary line and just expand upon it. So for Fourseed's evolution, I came up with the idea of implementing tarot cards into the design. Tarot cards are these special cards that are supposed to be able to tell your fortune, so I thought that really fit with the theme here. And since my Pokemon is already themed around looking like hands, I thought that hands plus cards is just so obvious, so I went with it. Tarot is a grass psychic Pokemon just like Fourseed, and it is known as the Tarot Pokemon. Tarot's card-shaped petals are said to tell people's fortune. If Tarot hands you one of its petals and it smells pleasant, it means you will have good luck. However, if the petals smell of death, something unfortunate will happen to you soon. Tarot's petals will regrow, so Tarot hands the petals out often to anyone who will take them. Since I used the concept of tarot cards for this Pokemon, and I already based this Pokemon off of a plant shaped like a hand, it seemed like a no-brainer to turn this Pokemon into sort of a wrist shape with a hand that actually deals the cards out. So when I was designing Tarot, I decided to play up the fingers a little more, made them a little longer, a little sharper, gave them a little extra detail. I got like the yellow bangles around the ones in the back there. When elongating this Pokemon's body to make it look more like a wrist, I gave it that yellow midsection to be more reminiscent of a bangle or bracelet that a lot of fortune tellers like to wear. Ultimately, I think this Pokemon really expands and takes the concept of the Devil's Hand plant Pokemon and just elevates it by adding that card element to it. It really takes the design to the next level, and like I said before with 4-Seed, I think this really works in combining the elements of grass and psychic types perfectly, visually representing them, thematically representing them. I personally am really proud of this design. When it came time to make a final evolutionary stage for this family, I thought really long and hard about it and did a lot of research on it. During my research, I came across this huge plant called the corpse flower, and everything about it just made me want to incorporate it into my final evolutionary stage design. The corpse flower, otherwise known as the Titan Arum, is one of the largest flowering plants in the entire world. The heaviest known corpse flower ever recorded is 339 pounds, and the tallest one ever recorded is a whopping 3.2 meters. What I found really interesting and what attracted me to the corpse flower for my design was mainly the piece in the middle, which I thought served as the perfect basis for the body of a Pokemon. But also, I found it super interesting that the plant only blooms every couple years, like max. So after settling on this plant for the basis of the final evolution, I still needed to come up with some sort of psychic theming to it. I didn't want to stray that far away from the theme of fortune telling that I've already done in the first and second stages of this evolutionary line, so I thought about it for really long and really hard, and then it hit me. You ever see those like robot fortune teller booths that have the little mechanical guy inside that tells you your fortune when you put in like a quarter or whatever? Yeah, for some reason I thought that would be a really cool idea for this Pokemon. The middle portion of the corpse flower being partially covered up by the blooming flower, to me just oddly drew weird parallels with the fortune tellers in the little robot machines and how you can only see them from like the waist up. So I just took that concept and absolutely ran with it, and the result was something really silly, but I think really endearing. So here we have Fortarum, the prediction Pokemon. Fortarum remains closed up and motionless for most of its life, blooming and becoming active for only 3 days a year. Some towns and cultures will hold festivals to celebrate its blooming, lining up to receive fortunes and guidance about major life events. However, Fortarum's predictions are often horribly wrong, forcing it to relocate when unhappy patrons seek it out for revenge. The 4-Seed within its petals possesses most of its psychic power. When Fortarum dies, the 4-Seed will fall out and begin its life. Before I even go over this design, I just wanted to speak about the name really quick. I developed the name to be a cross between Fortune and Titan Arum, Titan Arum being the alternate name for the corpse flower. I just thought it worked and flowed so well. I just thought it was perfect. Moving over to the design, I actually redesigned this Pokemon a few times because there was a lot of moving pieces and small details in this Pokemon that I just really wanted to make sure I simplified enough to where it wasn't overwhelming. We have the fingers and hands of the 4-Seed design forming this Pokemon's main hands, and we have the fingers from the Tailroot design actually wrapping around its neck and like shoulders to form sort of a vest that you see a lot of those genies and stuff wear. We gave him a hat made out of grass on top, where the middle actually has the fortune-telling petals, where he can pull them out from there. Every time he pulls out a petal from the top of his hat, it regrows and forms that one singular petal shape on top like that. I also have a little 4-Seed in the design that's also imitating a crystal ball like you would find in those robot fortune-telling booths. I really like those Pokemon designs where you sort of get a 2-for-1 deal in the Pokemon, like Kangaskhan with baby Kangaskhan, Mousehold with the baby mouses. I don't think including 4-Seed in here is abnormal in terms of Pokemon design. And I think it really plays into the grass aspect of the Pokemon, where after Fortarum dies, the 4-Seed's going to begin its life and it's going to restart the evolutionary process. Lastly, in terms of visual design, we gave him a little bit of a goatee with like a leaf. I thought that really made his face look kind of funny and helped sell what I'm trying to convey with this design. And the feet on the bottom I think are so fun. So my idea with the feet is that he can walk around, but then he sort of like sucks the feet in and sits down on like the ring down there and plants himself there, and that's where he sets up shop. Overall, I'm really proud of this design. Even though it's really silly, I just feel like I can picture how this Pokemon's character is just by looking at it. The idea of it being like a crappy discount fortune-telling Pokemon, where people often come to it, get their fortunes, and then return upset with what happened, I think is just really funny. And having it just run away or just relocate to set up shop again and try to swindle some more people into really low-quality fortunes is really funny. I just really like the idea that as this evolutionary line progresses, it has more and more fun with its psychic powers and enjoys the attention it receives so much that its psychic powers actually get worse, and it ends up in really comedic situations with people who are unhappy with their fortunes. I personally like the idea that it's one of those Pokemon that they use for comedic relief in like the anime, like Jigglypuff or Beware, where it's following other characters around and interacting with them and inserting itself into situations it shouldn't be for comedic effect. I really like that aspect of the Pokemon, and I'm really happy with it. And with that, that's the whole Forterram evolutionary line. I'm really proud of these designs, but I'd like to hear what you guys think in the comments, you know? If you didn't like them, if you liked them, if you have opinions, critiques of them, let me know. I'd like to discuss it with you guys and just take that feedback into account for future Fakemon designs. I made these guys about like 10 months ago, and I'm just getting around to doing a video on them now, and I'm just surprised of how much I actually enjoyed looking at these designs and being like, you know what? I'm still proud of this. That doesn't happen a lot with art. Usually you're like, ooh, I don't like this old art that I did. But I'm really proud of these guys. I think the character design is just really fun, and I think I actually pulled it off pretty well, but you tell me. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for looking at my designs, looking at my Pokemon. If you want more, I'll do more. I have another evolutionary family based on sugar ants that I can show you guys. If you want that, just let me know. I'll do it. But thanks, guys. That's it for today. Bye.